Hello everyone. In this segment, we are going to start chapter 5. In this segment, we are going to know more SQL. In the last chapter, we saw some basic SQL and we are going to see some example of more SQL. We'll see some more complex queries. We'll know about few and we'll see some example how we can do some schema modification. The chapter 5 outline, we're going to see more complex SQL retrieval query. We'll see view. View stands for virtual table, and we'll see some schema modification in SQL. So first we're going to see how we can handle null value. Okay. So in SQL we can check whether an attribute has a null value. All right, we know in a table some attribute can have null value. Now if we want to find the query, if we want to find the records for that record, if a attribute has a null value, all right, and we can check that by using a condition like is operator. Okay, so for example, retrieve the name of all employees who do not have any supervisor. Okay, now in that case we know that if an employee has a supervisor attribute value null, means super SSN attribute null, that means that employee doesn't have any supervisor. Now how we can check that? We can check that using is operator, and using is operator we can check whether a attribute value is null or not. Okay, whether super SSN is null, or we can also check super SSN is not null. Okay, that means the super SSN is not null. All right, so it will find all these condition will find all employees that has a supervisor, and this condition is going to find all employees that doesn't have any supervisor. All right, now in database, if a attribute has a null value, what does a null value means? Okay, so a null value can have a different meaning. It can mean like the attribute value is missing or attribute value is unknown. Now if the value is null, it's unknown, that means like we do not know the value. So if we do not know the value, in that case a where condition, in a where condition, when we have multiple condition together using and or operator, in that case it can have actually different meaning. So far we are familiar with standard two valued logic, right? So with and or comparison operator, we are familiar with two valued logic. For example, for everything we are actually familiar with true and true, true and false, false and false, or like false and true. Okay, now what about if we have some attribute value null? Okay, if some logic value is null, what happens then? So let's see, we have a condition where dno equals to 5 and lname equals to Smith. Okay, so how do we find the value for this conditional statement? So first we find the value of this condition. Okay, each condition will be either evaluated to either true or false, right? So dno equals to 5, it will be evaluated to true or false. Okay, and this condition will be evaluated to either true or false. Okay, then finally we are going to find the value for this two conditional statement with a AND operation. Okay, and we are familiar with this standard two valued logic. Okay, where the value can be either true or false. Now what about if one statement, if one condition value is unknown? Okay, It's not either true or false, it can be unknown in the database. Okay, for example, consider a condition where employee.dno equals to 5. Okay, so this evaluates for individual tuples in employee as follows. Let's see, we have a condition where dno equals to 5. Now if we have a tuple where dno equals to 5, for that tuple this condition will return true. Okay, now if the dno value is null, okay, then this condition is going to return unknown. Okay, if the dno value is null, for that the condition value will not be either true or false. This is going to return unknown. Okay, because the dno value is null, so we do not know the department number value. So if the dno value is not null, if the dno has a value and it's not null, either 6, 7 or 8, 9 or 1, 2, any value that is not null and not 5, for that tuple this is going to return false. Okay, so we have here 3 valued logic. Okay, so now the conditional statement can be evaluated to true, false or unknown. Okay, if a attribute value has a null value, for that attribute we can have a conditional statement can be evaluated to true, false or unknown. Okay, now in that case, how this conditional operator, how this logical operator and or not, we know we have 3 logical operator and or and not. Okay, how they are going to work. So combining individual condition using and or not logical connectives, we have to must consider unknown in addition to true and false. So let's see how this is going to work. We know how AND operator works with true and false. Okay, so for AND operator, if only both of them are true, the value will be true. Okay, if any of the value is false, if any of the condition is false, this is going to be false. Okay, now for AND operation with true, false and unknown, how it is going to look like. Okay, if any of the condition is false, we know that if any of the condition is false, this is going to be false. Okay, so false with true is false, false with false is false, and false with unknown is false. So here unknown means it can be either true or false, we just do not know the value. Okay, we just do not know whether it is true or false. Okay, unknown means we just do not know whether it is true or false. So any AND operation with false is going to be false. All right, now AND operation with true. So AND operation with true is true, we know that. True and false is going to be false, but true and unknown. Okay, so true and unknown is going to be unknown because we do not know whether it is true and false. If it is true, it will be true. If it is false, it will be false. But it is unknown, it will be unknown. Okay, now with unknown, unknown and true will be unknown. Unknown and unknown, obviously it will be unknown. And unknown and false, any one of them is false, the end result will be false. Okay, now OR operation means we know that here if it's a OR operation, the result will be if one of them is true, it will be true. Okay, if both are false, it will be false. Okay, so finding the true is easy because if one of them is true, it will be true. Okay, so true or true is true, true or false is true. We know that true or unknown will be true because one of them is true, so it will be this unknown is either true or false, it will be true. Okay, it doesn't matter what is the value of this unknown, the result of OR operation will be true. Now for false, it will depend on the value of unknown. Okay, so for false or unknown, it will be unknown because we do not know the value. Okay, so it will be unknown. Now unknown or true, it will be true because one of them is true, but all other will be unknown. Now not will be actually unknown. Not of unknown will be unknown. I mean, if it is true, not of true is false. If it is false, not of false is true. But if it is unknown, we do not know what will be the not operation. It will be still unknown. Okay.